Coming all the way from Canada. He done traveling all the world to bring to you right here this rap. Live from T-Dot, from the 416. You know how we do. Up north. You know how we do up north.
Up late, all night, working in the studio. Writing rhymes, making dimes, working on my flow.
And welcome back, everyone, to the Evening Q. This is a podcast where we talk about shit that matters. That's right, shit that matters all the time. I must say, though, it has been a little while since you've seen me. My name is Misha Peterzak. I'm filling in for Miles Wolf, the host, because we got a great guest on the show tonight. And his name, I actually know him personally. His name is...
My name is Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. How you doing?
Not too bad.
Well, see, Jeff and I, we know each other. We know each other, actually. So, yeah, I don't know, Jeff, tell, if there's anyone who's listening to this, tell the people what you do. Who are you, what you do, you know?
Yeah, I'm a single guy living in Toronto, downtown, and so far so good. Been here since 2018. Did my undergrad at Western. Came out here originally for school. And so far, I've really enjoyed my time in Toronto, so I foresee myself being here long term, and yeah, we'll see where things go.
That's great. I like how you lead with "I'm a single man." You know,
I know what the topic is for this conversation, so we'll take it that direction.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I really wanted to get you on here today. Like I said, I haven't had anyone on for a few weeks now since our last guest, Jeremy Marasegan. But yeah, I thought you would be the perfect person for this topic tonight, and I told you what it was just before coming on here. And it is basically dating and girls and modern times, essentially. And I think you would be the perfect person, right? So, I guess to start off, I mean, do you remember your first date? Do you remember when you started dating? Let's say.
Yeah. I remember my first girlfriend. I remember what I was like in high school, where didn't really date much and didn't really talk to girls. In fact, I don't think I even knew what a girl was back in the day.
Really?
And so I actually grew and kind of developed my own personality and got to learn who I was at Western. Just moving away from home kind of helped build me into who I am today.
Right.
And yeah, I had met a girl at a party at Western. It was purely just casual. We didn't think anything would come from it. And somehow we ended up in a relationship after just talking for a couple months. And I think that's the way sometimes the way things go. And that's the way that the best things happen is when you don't plan for it. It's when it's spontaneous and not pre-planned.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I actually remember this girl you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Her name's, I'm not going to put it on the show here, but yeah, she's someone that I brought around to you and my family group. And, she was a great girl.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, for me, it's kind of similar. I mean, I started kind of having success with girls in university as well, because like I think a lot of guys in high school, you know, we weren't really our true selves, our like adult selves yet, right? We were kind of a little scared and of failure, let's say, with girls, and also just insecure, you know, because I don't know if you remember. Do you remember, like, I used to have like major acne? Well, actually, I think the peak of my acne is sometime in university, like early years. But I had, you know, pimples on my face and everything in high school, right? So I never had confidence, right? And until about grade 12, I think. Grade 12. Do you remember grade 12? It was kind of like.
Yeah, I do.
You know,
I feel like everyone that was dating in high school, like, happy for them. But if we're gonna be completely honest here, like, how many people that dated in high school are still dating right now?
And that's what I was gonna say.
So it's good experience to date early, I believe, but ultimately you shouldn't take it too seriously, and you should just have fun with it because see it for what it is.
Yeah, no, exactly. Sorry, guys. I just had to just finish my beer there. That's what that sound was. But yeah, I was gonna say that in high school, I remember, jealous of people that were dating in high school. But then I realized, actually, honestly, after high school, you look at them a few years later, and yeah, they were with other people. So now, it kind of makes me feel better that it didn't really matter back then, I think. But in university, that's where you really start taking off. And for me, I was a late bloomer though. Like for me, it was kind of fourth year when I started, getting somewhere with girls. I mean, with you and your first girlfriend, you said it was what, in first or second year, was it? I can't remember.
It was just the end of first year.
Okay, in the first year. Yeah, well, I remember seeing her, and yeah, she was nice and everything. And I was like, I don't know if I told you, but like at the time, I was like, man, I gotta step up my game here because Jeff's getting somewhere, and then other people, I saw my other friends getting somewhere too, and I'm like, wow, I'm gonna be left behind here, But
Yeah, I think it's important for everyone to realize though that it's okay to go at your own pace, and you shouldn't dictate what you want based on what other people have. Yeah.
oh, okay. Well, do you know? I guess now we're in the present. Do you know how many dates you've been on now? Do you have like a rough estimate or what? Because in my mind, you're like kind of like a ladies' man now. You're a player, dude.
I couldn't give you a number, and I wouldn't call myself a ladies' man either. But yeah, I couldn't give you a number on that one.
Okay. Yeah, because I know myself how many dates, well, not necessarily the number of dates, but the number of girls I've had, romantic relationships with, and I don't know if you remember, I went to France after university, right? And that's where I really blossomed. I really, really did, right? I've kind of gone down a little. See, you're smiling right now because it's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me it was I think it's 7. Yeah, 7 is my number.
7 dates or 7
no,
relationships?
seven sexual relationships, let's say.
Okay.
But yeah. But in terms of girlfriends though, I've had 2 actually, official ones, yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
What about you, like actual official? Is it like 3, 4, something like that?
Yeah. What I would say is like, yeah, I've only had 2 serious relationships. Maybe like a third one. It was like half in, half out. But ultimately, you can have 100 dates, or you could have 5 dates, but the end number of how many actual relationships you have, it can still be a small quantity, regardless of how many dates that you've been on. So just because you have been on more dates does not necessarily mean you're going to have more relationships.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, speaking of dates, I think you are probably one of the most successful people I know with actually using the dating apps of today, and actually finding success on them, right? Because I've told you before, I think, myself personally, the dating apps, like Bumble, Hinge, Tinder, all that stuff. Apparently, people get dates on them, right? Like you have, I think.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Sure. I mean, I have not found any success though. Do you have any advice for yours truly? How to, I don't know, find any sort of success with these? Like how do you go about asking a girl out on one of these apps? Because I actually want to know, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd first start by saying that it's so important to have just high quality pictures. That's a baseline to have.
Okay.
If you have high quality pictures and pictures of you doing various activities, it could be like an outdoor activity, it could be you just lounging or chilling, it could be you doing a sport, just having you in various scenarios to kind of show like the well-rounded person that you are. It's going to help you get dates. And I think one of the important things is you have to realize there's so many people on these apps. It's super easy to, at least for the girl from our perspective, is that if you don't make something happen quickly, you'll just end up in the back burner, and soon enough, it's just like a lost opportunity. So what I try and do is keep your texts with the girls as short as possible and concise.
Yeah.
Get to know each other, make sure you're both comfortable in the scenario, then pitch the date as soon as possible, without risking or losing any of that comfortability that you're trying to build while you get to know each other. So
Okay.
that's an advice that I would have for anyone using the apps. And I think the biggest and most crucial app of all of them is Hinge.
Of course.
It's by far better than Tinder. It's by far better than Bumble.
Also,
Because the ads on Tinder and Bumble, they constantly want you to reuse the app and open the app. So
yeah.
even though they are a dating app, they're trying to get you to open the app as many times as you can, so they
Okay.
can make money off their ad revenues and whatnot. But for
Mhm.
Hinge, their slogan is the app designed to be deleted, right?
I know.
So,
I've heard that before. And you think like it actually, springs relationships from that?
yeah,
From your experience?
absolutely.
Mm.
My previous relationship was off Hinge, and I've met a lot of high quality people off Hinge, so I would 100% recommend the app to anyone that's looking for a partner.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So, like, do you prefer? I guess you prefer Hinge over Bumble and Tinder,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess. I think I've heard that. I've heard that before from other people, but I don't know. Maybe you can give me advice on my problem that I have, because my problem is, yeah, I really don't know how to start talking to the girls. Like, I've had some matches on Hinge before, right?
Mhm.
It actually took me a long time to actually download the app.
Yeah.
Because in this modern dating, which is basically online nowadays,
Yeah.
it just doesn't work for me. I don't know. I'm a fan of like the traditional. I mean, I have to build up the confidence when I do it, but I'm a fan of the traditional way to approach girls. In a bar or something when I'm drunk. She's a little drunk too, and then because then it just takes the edge off. And personally, I get a little more confident when I'm in a public setting, and I'm not fully sober, but not like piss drunk at the same time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Do you still do you know of other guys that still kind of try and meet girls the traditional way, like in a public place or something, or in a park, or what?
Yeah, for sure. I think I'll touch on your first question first. Is like,
Mhm.
how do you get more dates off the apps? And
Mm-hmm.
it kind of go back to what I said earlier: is get as high quality pictures as possible. You want to make sure that you're coming from a position of where the other person already sees you in the best quality light that you can be in.
Mhm.
If you're able to do that, then think of it as when you see someone that you're very much attracted to on the other side. Then if they, let's say they respond, take a long time to respond, or they're really short and concise in their texts, you're more likely to give them a second opportunity just because you're more attracted to them, right?
Okay.
So same
Yeah.
thing for you. If you can upgrade your pictures to as high quality as possible, you give yourself a bigger margin for error to make mistakes while you're talking, or you say something stupid and the girl's still in it. So give yourself the best possible chance by having the highest quality photos. And what I would say to that, you were asking about what's the first move when you message a girl.
Yeah.
Always message the girl something that has something to do with her profile. The beauty about Hinge is she has to put down 6 pictures and 3 comments on prompts.
Right.
So talk about one of those things. It's really not that difficult to have one thing to talk about
Yeah.
through all those options. And if she doesn't respond from that, I mean, that's just, you've done everything that you could have done, and you just chalk it up as a loss and you move on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
So, like, do you have you ever? Because I've heard this from other guys before. Have you ever gone, or have you ever matched with a girl and then you go out with her and then it's just a total dud, like just a not a connection or something like that
Yeah,
that you thought you had over messages, let's say?
absolutely. I mean, that's what dating is, right? Like,
Mhm.
you go and you try and meet someone, but who they are isn't necessarily who they were online. And But that's the risk that you take. It's part of the game, right?
Right. Do you have what about, you were talking about pictures before, and I know this is a classic one where people have pictures of them when they were at like their peak like 5 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And then you look at them now and then it's like, oh, and I mean that's kind of where I am, because I was telling you this just earlier today. I'm trying to lose about 10, 15 pounds, right, to get to my most comfortable. Oh my God, don't knock the desk, man. To get to my most comfortable sexy weight. I call it the sexy weight of 180 pounds, ladies. So like technically all my pictures from, I don't know, my best pictures were back from 2017, 2018, because that was when I had the peak weight. I was at the peak of my sexual prowess, I looked the best. I had the fade going with the lines, the lines I'm talking about and everything, right? But if I showed pictures now, you could probably see just a little bit of love handles on the side, a little bit of extra fat going around, right? And see, I don't know if that's probably not attractive, right? I mean, mind you, I've seen girls with hot girls, just the hottest girls you've ever seen, with guys that are just kind of average, and I'm like, that gives me hope though. That really does, because that means, oh, you don't have to be a super jacked guy, right, to go date them, right? I mean, but what do you think? Do you think they like, do you think most girls like you to be kind of jacked or something, or do you think you can get away with a kind of a dad-ish body, kind of halfway in between dad body and jacked, kind of right in the middle,
Yeah. What I would say to that, I think it's a bit of both. I think girls like the fact that you're taking care of yourself. That's the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing that no one really talks about is the confidence you gain from working on yourself and improving yourself, just as a man, and weight training and building your body to, the potential that I can get to. You get a lot of confidence from that. You feel good about yourself. You maintain standards for yourself, and that kind of overflows into other areas of your life, including dating. You start to see, this is the standard I have for myself, and if someone else is going to come into my life, they also have to have some standard for themselves. So, it's going to be if you do find a partner, it's going to be one where you're pushing each other to be, the best that you can be, kind of thing.
Okay.
I don't want to read too deep into it, but
no, please. There's no limits here, man.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're holding back a little. There's no limits because no one listens to this anyway, so it doesn't matter. But what about that classic topic of looks versus personality? What do you think? Do you value them equally, or do you value one over the other?
I think for me, there's a baseline. To be completely transparent here, there's a baseline for the looks, and then once the looks are there, that's cool. The personality kind of hammers it home for me. It used to be, maybe when I was younger, I was like first year university, 18, like looks is all I need. That's all I need. I don't care about personality. I'll just take the looks. But now it's like, we're older, we're a bit more mature. You have to really not only do you have to, enjoy spending time and hanging out with them, like you have to get along. And so you take more into account how the other how they carry themselves, what their personality's like, and do you guys even mesh? That's some key things to think about.
Okay. Yeah, because I will say for myself personally, I used to think that it was supermodel or nothing, right, for me. Like that was the only girl I would accept as a supermodel. And then I realized that was when I was still a virgin, obviously, right? And now, I realize no. I mean, personally, I like tasting all the spices if you catch my drift. You know what I'm saying? But then I realized, there's not always, it's not all about looks, right? Because there can be some like really hot girls, for instance, and then you'd start talking to them, and then, I don't know, just the personality's not there. There's just nothing there really, like intellectually kind of, and it kind of just, for me, it kind of just, turns me off almost. Is that fair to say,
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair to say. You see there very often, like sometimes when you're you're talking with someone at a party, and you obviously are talking with them because you have some sort of attraction, whatever. But then you start feeling that attraction waning as soon as they open their mouth, and it's like, okay, I'm losing brain cells as we go along here. So, um, yeah, I think we've all been there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess we're moving along kind of quickly here. I mean, I think it's it might be kind of good that we're moving quick because it is freaking hot. Do you agree?
I think we should cover as many topics as we can.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, I mean, actually, this second part of this, which we'll dive into, is actually kind of personal preferences in terms of ethnicities of girls, let's say, and because this is one thing that I've seen. You will see it in Canada, more than in other countries, let's say. But in Canada, you see a lot of mixed race, I would say. Same with actually when I was living in France, I would say there's actually quite a bit of mixed race because I think they're more open to it too. So you'd see the white girl with the black guy, or black girl with white guy, but usually it's the first one, right? And we all know why, right? Why a white girl wants a black guy. Do you want to say it or should I?
You can go ahead. I don't know.
It's for the big dicks. Okay. Moving on. Yeah, but for you, being of Asian ethnicity or race, let's say, what do you find yourself more attracted to? One type of race of girls, or do you kind of like to taste all of the spices, like kind of like I said earlier for myself?
Yeah, well, when I think of dating, I think of us all as one. I don't really think about the races and who we are. It's do I like the person first and foremost. When I think about where I grew up and the environment I grew up in, I think that carries a huge role into the choices that I make today.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone that's listening to this can relate to that, is whether you know it consciously or it's subconscious. A lot of the choices that you make today are because of the choices that you made when you were younger, and the environment that you were surrounded in. So what you saw growing up is probably a lot of what you are seeing right now.
Okay. And like, do you remember when we were growing up? What did we see? Was it kind of more white and white, or was it?
Yeah, I'd say the demographic was definitely more white.
Mhm.
We came from White Rock, BC, so
Yeah,
a lot of
it's in the name, for God's sake, right?
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's where we grew up, and I feel like that's all we've ever known. So
True.
it's what we're used to.
I mean, what do you think about university? Did you start to see kind of more diversity, let's say, in terms of the dating game? Or
Yeah, absolutely. It was nice because when I went to university, I guess it was a nice confidence boost to know that I was able to, I was attracted to other girls that weren't necessarily just from one particular race. It was it was a nice diverse mix, and it's nice to have those experiences with all these different girls. Now I sound like a player. I should not have
it's
done
fine,
that.
man. It's okay, man.
I think it's nice to have those experiences, and especially at that time of age where we were at, it was like, if I don't do this now, I don't know if I'll have another opportunity to do it again.
Yeah.
So, I live with the choices that I made, and I'm happy that I made them. I don't have any regrets, and I had fun doing it. So I'm sure everyone's happy in the end of the process. So
Oh, of course. Well, I mean, it really took me going to Europe, for instance, for myself personally, to see the diversity in relationships and everything, and what could be. For instance, my boss was actually dating I would consider her a Latina. I mean, I think she was She was from some Spanish speaking country. I don't know if it was Spain or somewhere in South America or something. But yeah, I saw that as well as some of the some girls I knew who I did want to have sex with. But they had a boyfriend already. One of them actually, she was very cute. I must say, very cute. But she had a what?
Here, let me take this topic somewhere else. I think you'll be interested in, and all
Okay.
your listeners would be interested in as well.
Okay.
I think one thing that everyone is going to face once they get back from post-COVID times is going to the bars. And what's your move? Are you going to talk to people? Are you going to sit there in the corner with your beer in your hand? What are you going to do?
Because people haven't been talking to people for over a year, right? You're not allowed to go up to anyone, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think once the bars and the clubs open up, and you don't have to rely as much on these dating apps as you normally do. And one huge advantage of meeting a girl at a bar or a club is that you can show who you truly are right away, instantly. The girl gets a feel and gets to know who you are, just from the way you approach her, the way you talk to her, the vibe that you give off. It's much more real than it would be from talking to someone on a app, and for all you know, they're just a stranger.
Well, but from my experience, this is why I think dating has gone to these to online primarily nowadays, is because in my experience, when I go to the bar or something, and if I approach a girl, let's say that I like and think is cute and everything, she's always with a couple of her girlfriends, and then but they dress up so how do you say, provocative and sexy and everything. They dress to be seen, right? And of course, I see them. I notice them with my two big eyes and everything. And I go up to them, but then they just give you the cold shoulder and everything, and their girlfriends protect them anyway. So, like, how are we supposed to do this nowadays?
Yeah, so that's another good question. From what I've noticed, is when you're at a bar or you're a club, who do you think primarily makes the first move?
The guy.
Not really.
What are you talking about?
So, from my experience, it's usually the girl that gives some sort of subtle sign that it's up to the guy to pick up on. So,
is that really the first move or anything?
You can call it the first move. You don't want to call it the first move, whatever it is. There's a clue that the girl's going to give you if she's interested in wanting to talk to you. So it could be as simple and as quick as a 1-second glance in your direction, looking you in the eye, and that's your clue to talk to her.
Okay.
What you've experienced with the girls that are dressed to the tens and, giving you the cold shoulder, that's all because why? You approach them with there's been no clue. There's been no sign that they wanted to talk to you.
Okay.
That's why you're getting rejected from them, is because they were never interested to begin with. But if you're there at the club, trust me, every single girl is aware of their surroundings, and they're aware of every guy at the club.
Okay. I see.
What I would say to make sure that is just keep your eye out for girls that either glance in your direction or they bump into you, whatever it is, they stand too close. Just be aware and keep your eyes open and alert to make sure that you're picking up on the clues. Usually it's going to be very quick. It's literally going to be half a second, or it could be a millisecond. And if you don't pick up on it, that's your loss, and you're going to have to take the L. So most times, girls give the first move. Whether people admit it or not, that's how I've seen it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting information. Do I have a pen and paper here? I need to write this down. You should write this down from the master. Maybe they call Jeffrey Sue. Yeah. But
girls do give the invitation for you to talk to them.
Is that true?
Yeah. It will be a quick glance. It will be standing too close to you. It'll be a bump into you on accident.
Oh, okay.
Or for example, let's say that you first walk into the bar here, The girl's on the dance floor. You're by the bar rail. And 5 minutes later, she's moved from the dance floor to halfway closer to you by the bar rail. And you've seen a progression of her moving closer and closer to you.
Right.
That is a sign. She's not going to come all the way over from the dance floor, all the way to where you are. That would be too obvious.
Mm-hmm.
She would maybe come halfway, maybe 3/4, and it's up to you to close the deal. She still wants to see that you have the balls to approach her. So pick up your balls and fucking make a move.
Pick up my balls. I like that expression.
And walk over there and talk to her. And I know a lot of people that, sometimes struggle talking to girls, and making that move to talk to a girl. I know it's very intimidating because I've been there before. And one thing that I always do personally is I always give myself 3 seconds.
Okay.
I count to 3 in my head. I get comfortable in those 3 seconds with the worst case scenario. So I think about what the worst case scenario might be if I talk to this girl. Most of the times she just says no, and that's the end of it. And that would be the worst case scenario.
Right.
So once I get comfortable with that, I count to 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I go talk to her. I don't give myself a second chance to overthink the situation. I have to walk on 3, whether I like it or not.
Okay.
I just do it. Once the 3 hits, I'm going.
Do you ever count to 3 and then you come up and then you just stutter and like, oh shit?
Yeah. Well, funny thing is, when I was coming back on my flight from Vancouver to Toronto, there was this Latino girl sitting next to me.
Oh, I love Latinas, excuse me. Yes.
And I thought she was very cute. And we all had our face masks on, and I wanted to talk to her, but I didn't think we'd be able to have a conversation given the fact we had our masks on. And so it was kind of freaking me out because, I didn't know how the conversation would go, and I was starting to overthink things. So in that moment, I just did the thing that I had mentioned earlier, is just count to 3. 1, 2, 3. I tapped her on the shoulder. We started having a conversation, and boom, we ended up linking up later that day. It was flawless. She loved the fact that I, had the guts to approach her, and she was very much appreciative of that entire interaction. And she expressed her interest and how happy she was that, we got to meet each other. And, it's crazy. Like, you take 3 seconds of you being uncomfortable and think about how your next month is going to be super comfortable. So just think of it that way. Short-term pain for some long-term gain.
Okay. Man, you're coming up with all these expressions that I really like. I got to remember all these. Well, I'll listen to this back in post-production anyway. Right?
Yeah, you can rewind this shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's some good advice. I mean, it just, the problem I'm having is that this advice seems all like, or this these experiences that you're sharing all seem like very lucky or ideal, like for someone like me, because in my life I've had a lot of bad luck in terms of this. Like this, if I could just do that all the time, count to 3, 1, 2, 3, go and talk and everything. A lot of times they're like, why are you talking to me? Go away. No, I'm just trying to listen to music. Excuse me. Sorry. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think one thing you really need to take into account here is you have to change your approach. The girls that you're approaching cannot be girls that have not given you any interest.
Okay, yeah.
Girls, as people always say that guys make the first move. I don't believe that. I believe that girls make the first move, and it's always super subtle. And it's on you as a man to pick up on those cues. If you don't pick up on it, that's, again, your loss. So yeah, if you want to improve your bad luck, start talking to girls that have interest in you.
Okay. Well, see, in my life, that's why I loved Europe so much, and that's because it was very clear that honestly, girls can make the first move, and like I'm talking literally, not just this subtle glance. Oh, I'm looking at you for 2 seconds. Okay, oh sorry, I'm gonna look away now. No, it was really they would actually come up to you and say, hey, I like you, or like I think you're a good looking man. Do you want to get a beer after this or something? It's like, yeah, hell yeah, I do, of course. And that's how I got a couple girls, because they actually approached me, but like actually approaching me, not this subtle glance thing that North Americans do. I don't know. Have you ever experienced this in your life? Like, have you been to Europe before? I can't remember.
Yeah, so I definitely agree. That's nice that girls approach you and like they
It's
ask
very
you.
neutral, the playing field, right?
For sure. It's a completely different culture there.
Exactly.
But I mean, us complaining and bitching about how it is over here isn't going to change the way things are.
Exactly.
So
Well, that's why I want to move over there, to be honest.
yeah, I
When
mean, if you're the type of person that would like want to live over there, for sure, by all means, that's what you should be doing. But yeah, the way that things are over here, it's you either adapt to survive or you die. I mean, that's just the way that things are. So, yeah, don't really have like no offense, but like I feel like you can't really be a bitch about it. You have to, you know, change your approach and adapt to the way things are over here, and then you know what, you're probably gonna come out a stronger man out of it by the end of the day. So
Okay.
I think you'll be happy that you know you've changed in a way for the better, but then you also have that luxury when you go to Europe that like, hey, this is the way things are over here and I can just sit back and chill. But if you can have both sides of the spectrum where you're cool and comfortable with the North American side and then you're going to Europe and then you're cool and comfortable, you have the European side, it's only going to make you a better person at the end of the day.
Okay. Look at this. This is supposed to be a comedy podcast. I don't know what's happened to this podcast. We're getting so deep in advice and everything. I mean, because you know what I have written down on the screen right here? This is one of the topics. I was going to ask, do you think girls think that size matters? Let's turn it right around here. 180 here.
I think, okay, since you're the podcast host, we'll go with this.
Exactly.
But we'll do one of these.
You have no choice.
We'll do one of these questionable topics, and then we'll move on to the next. I do believe that girls care more about what you're doing with it.
Thank you. Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the next topic.
No, nothing more to say? No?
I think I've already said that. Everything that needs to be said here.
Oh, okay. What about this? I guess this doesn't really have to be your personal, because I don't want you to share things that you're not comfortable with or anything, but do you think in general most guys prefer clean shaven, airstrip, or full bush?
I can't speak on that topic. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Okay, well that's fine because I'm more than comfortable with sharing what I think. Clean shaven for sure, for sure. If for sexual relations, I mean, come on. It's just like this is one thing when I was dating when I had my girlfriends, let's say, both of them were clean shaven and I clean shaved myself as well, because it's just more clean and more presentable, more likable, more tasteful. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a conversation you have with someone that's your partner, and you still are respectful of their decision of what they want to do with their body at the end of the day. So yeah, you're entitled to your opinion of what you like, but at the end of the day, the girl gets to do, or the guy gets to do what they want with their own body.
Okay. So I guess, Jeff, with the advice you've been given about, girls making the first move, looking at you, do you think that's more applicable or more easy to pick up on, let's say, in a bar or a club? Because a club has a lot of noise and a lot of energy going on and everything, a lot of people, where a bar that's more sociable and everything, might be a little easier to pick up on.
Yeah. This is, So I would do believe a bar is probably the better place for you to pick up on those things. It's more quiet and you can actually be in tune with what's going around you. And also, you're not getting as drunk as you are at a club where you're
Right.
dancing your ass off, and therefore you can be more aware of your surroundings, given the fact that you're not as drunk as you would
Right.
be at a club. Um, what I would also say though is I think it's important for men to realize that when you go to the bar in the club, go there to have a good time for yourself. Don't go there with this is going to sound super counterintuitive, is don't go there with the mindset to pick up girls.
Okay.
The reason for this is girls can pick up on everything. They're like bloodhounds. They can smell desperation. They can
Mm.
smell thirstiness. So don't be reeking of any of that stuff. When you go to the bar or the club, you go there for yourself to have a good time with your buddies and kick the shit and do what you want to do. At the end of the day, if you go home and you talk with a girl, whatever, that's just the cherry on top. But that cannot be the main focus of why you're there. Just enjoy yourself. Make that your priority and enjoy the time that you're spending with the people around you. Um, that would be the biggest piece of advice I would have when it comes to like going out to the nightclub or the bars.
Okay. What about what about mm, the years you think is necessary in a relationship before popping that important question of marriage? Let's say. What about that? Do you think it's more, I don't know, the marriage will have better chance of lasting if you are just boyfriend and girlfriend for, more than 3 years, more than 5 years, or what? Or do you think after 1 year you could just know, like some people just, oh, we're gonna get married and that's gonna be that? What about you?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't been in a relationship in like a serious one in quite some time. I think yeah, someone had asked me whether or not when you get into a relationship that automatically means that like you're going to be seeing them as potential marriage material and all that. And honestly, I've always just lived in the moment. When I'm in a relationship with someone, I don't think about where this is going until the time comes for it to happen. So let's say I'm on my first month of my relationship with X person. I'm thinking about how things are going in the moment. I'm not thinking about, are we getting married in 3 years? Are we getting married in five? I'm not thinking about that.
Okay.
In fact, I think that can be detrimental to your relationship if you start putting pressures of expectations of where things need to be or where they should be. And you're going to be very disappointed when things don't land in the time frame that you've set for what you've intended. So, yeah, I always would just say live in the moment, see what happens. And, if you get married in like 3 years or 4 years, that's great. But you shouldn't have some sort of deadline.
Of
Um,
course.
Otherwise, you can be rash to make decisions that you might regret going forward.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean that's sound advice because yeah, I think you hit the nail on that one. Because just bringing it back to a more level that I can talk about. For me, in my experience with relationships and everything, the more it seems like the more I try, the more I put the effort into, let's say, meeting a girl, talking to her, and trying to start something with her, the more I fail, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of for me why it kind of just it's just a downer, and that's why I realized actually it always comes from me when I'm least expecting it, like good things romantically. Do you find that to be true or what?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you don't put pressure for things to happen, and both sides kind of have this approach where they're really chill and they're just happy to see where things go, that's when the best things happen. Um, I've had experiences where uh, there's been expectation of where things need to be at a certain time, and I actually find that has a negative impact on the ability for the relationship or whatever you have going to flourish.
Okay. So we've been talking a lot about guys approaching girls. What about girls approaching guys? What do you think guys can do as a whole to make girls approach us, let's say?
So I think the number one way is obviously have what girls are all looking for in every guy. It's confidence. Just exude confidence in whatever you're doing. Whether you're talking to someone at a park or just like at your sporting event or at the bar or the club, just exude like, I belong here. This is what I'm here for tonight, and I know why I'm here. Just be super grounded in who you are and your purpose for that night. And I think it's just not even appealing just to girls, but to guys and everyone around you. Like, people want to be around someone that is very positively charged and just honestly has overall good vibes. So be that guy that people love to talk to, people enjoy talking to, and people love hanging around. And that's all going to work in your favor pre-selection.
Pre-selection. Okay. Well, it's good. Good advice from Dr. Jeff here. Really appreciate that. What should girls expect from a first date, do you think, from a guy? Do you think they should expect us to take them to dinner and a movie, or just drinks, or just coffee, or what? What do you think they should expect from us guys?
Yeah, I think you're almost framing the question the wrong way here.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I think girls don't normally come into a first date with any expectation. If they do come to a first date with you expecting them to take them to Jacob's Steakhouse or STK, you're probably with the wrong girl.
Okay.
So, what I would first and foremost say is, I don't like investing or over investing on my first date. If I did do a STK or Jacobs on my first date every single time, I'd be broke by the end of the fifth date. So I think it's important to realize that you do what works best for you. And that, for many people, is going to be a coffee date. Something short, quick, and sweet. You kind of have to read the room and understand where and what the other person wants. If the person on the other side is looking for, let's say, they want something casual, then you obviously are not going to be taking them out to a dinner date. You're obviously going to do something that's, maybe closer to your place so you can make something happen and think of the logistics once whatever you're doing is done. So it could be a park, it could be drinks out of the park, it could be like a patio, whatever, something short and sweet. Whereas something maybe you're thinking more long term, has long term potential, you might do like a coffee date on the first date. Just talk to them, get to know them for an hour. That's the whole point of the first date, is just to get to know the other person. And after the first date, then you can do something a bit more, get a bit more invested. So you could take them out for, like another patio drink and then do ice cream at the end of it. I think girls can really appreciate when you take them to multiple places. So it almost feels like there's 2 dates happening in the span of 1 date. So that's something that's always fun, is you take them to one place and then you end up somewhere else. Let's say you take them to the park in the late evening, and then afterwards you go to shoot pool down the hall. So it's those things like that where you're kind of spontaneous and you're hard to predict, that can make you even more attractive.
Oh, okay. Because I've heard that sometimes coffee date might be giving off a little bit too much of a friendly friendly vibe. It's not serious enough for a first date. Like it has to be minimum, alcoholic drinks or dinner or something. Do you agree with that or no?
I don't agree with that because what if you don't like drinking? What if drinking's not your thing?
True.
You can't force someone to drink.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's say dinner. Let's say.
Okay. What was the question with dinner?
Well, a coffee date might be a little too friendly and not like romantic. I don't know. Might be it's like friends have coffee, where dates have dinner.
Yeah.
Let's say.
Yeah. Well, think about it this way. On the first date or first time you're meeting up, are you really dating them? Really? On the first date? You don't know who they are yet.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know if you want to date them yet.
Yeah.
You're still figuring that out. So, from that perspective, a coffee date should be perfectly fine. You don't even know if you like them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, okay. Well, when do you think in a relationship, let's say, now you've been dating for, I don't know, X number of months, you guys consider yourself girlfriend and boyfriend. When do you think, because I've never gotten to this point personally in one of my relationships, when do you think is the right time to, let's say, go on a trip together? Because I think that's a big step in a relationship, no?
Yeah, for sure. I think the answer to this is you'll just know. You'll know when the right time is.
Okay.
You'll be in that relationship and putting your time and your energy and your money all to like planning a trip. That's not something to be taken lightly. That's almost at the point where you're definitely official at some point. Like you've really taken that next step forward and you're ready to spend time with each other in a prolonged period of time. It's not just coming over to hang out for 12 hours and then you're gone the next day. No, you're literally spending an entire weekend or an entire week together. And that's when you really get to know each other.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's true because a lot of times, you see couples fighting on vacation or whatever, or families, let's say, fighting on vacation. So what about this with couples? We're going through all the stages now of a relationship. What about when, do you think it's the same mentality applies, like when you have to when you move in together?
Yeah, that's a really tricky one, Misha. I feel like a lot of people have felt that moving in together is the right thing to do. I've always been a huge proponent for not moving in together. Um, I've From what I've witnessed from my peers and my friends is that you honestly have a huge chance of having your relationship fall apart just because you moved in together. And the argument has been, okay, like this is going to be our time to figure out whether we can last or not. But why would you put that unnecessary pressure on yourself to see whether or not it can test the limits of living together to actually put your relationship? Why would you even put yourself in that position to begin with?
Well, I mean, because you need to, sometimes you love the person so much, but living to them was just a bitch. It's just a pain in the ass. Right?
Yeah, I think what people are trying to get at is we should be living together under the same roof, even though we're not necessarily ready for it yet. And there's an argument that, okay, we need to try. We need to at least try. And my perspective is there's no necessity to put yourself through that because you can have serious harmful effects to your relationship where you end up splitting apart because you were never ready in the first place. So, there's relationships and marriages out there where they still live in separate houses.
Right.
I'm not saying that that's something I'd seriously consider in the future, but that goes to show like if people can live in separate places and still keep a marriage working, that goes to show you don't have to live under the same roof. There's lots of marriages where you live under the same roof and then you end up getting divorced. So really, is there a perfect formula?
But I mean, the marriages where they live in separate houses, though, don't you think that's kind of like a little unnatural. I mean, what about if they have a kid and stuff, right? I mean, daddy lives with you, mommy doesn't, or mommy lives with you, daddy doesn't, but they're married still and they love each other and they have sex and all this stuff. Like what?
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting. I would love to understand and see whether or not a relationship or marriage would be able to be sustained if you didn't live under the same roof. What I can definitely attest to is when I was in a relationship and I was doing long distance,
Yeah.
it actually made me more attracted to the person. The fact
Oh.
that you almost want what you can't have, and you get to really appreciate that other person. It's in those moments where they're not around that you can appreciate them the most. The way that I've heard other people say it is, music wouldn't be music without the pauses in between each note. So that's the same way with relationships. You need time apart to fully appreciate what you have. And I truly believe in that.
But do you think it's too tempting for people when they're in long distance relationships, let's say, to kind of lose interest in the person and then eventually realize, there's other girls or guys here that I'm attracted to. I'm just gonna hook up with them and then
Yeah,
on.
of course there are those side factors of like other relationships or other interests that you might pursue, but then that just goes to show that person probably wasn't right for you in the first place. Because if they were, they would be able to withstand any of those other side interests that you might have. That person would be able to withstand, and you would know what the right thing to do in that situation is, and that would be to stay loyal to the person that you have in front of you.
Mm. See, me, I'm maybe it's my pessimistic side coming out, but I feel like long distance relationships never work. At least the ones I've seen, they never end up working as much as I hope that they do, right? Because the two people are great together, right? So I don't know. I just have this different perspective on it. Like I just think, I don't know, long distance just doesn't work,
I totally agree. I don't think long distance relationships work either, and that's why I would never recommend it to anyone.
I mean, only, but you were saying, like, I guess, long distance just for a certain amount of time to realize how much you appreciate them, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think I'm not saying people should be doing long distance relationships. I think eventually someone's going to have to move to the other person's city, 100%.
Right.
But I also believe that it's in those times when you're dating someone and you're not talking to them and you don't get to see them, that's when you actually start developing more feelings and more attraction towards that person.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I actually think you had really good words there of wisdom and advice, even though we're the same age. But, I feel like you just gave me wisdom. I don't know what it is. But you could be my dad, dude. No. No, but anyway, hey, man, I really appreciate you coming on. And it's been a long time to get this organized and get this episode happening. So, but hey, thank you so much for coming on. And I just want to take this time at the end here to let you promote yourself. Like they do in Hot Ones, with Sean Evans or Hot Ones.
Tell them what you got going on.
This camera. Except we don't have cameras, so just tell them what you got going on.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm jeff.hsu. I don't have Twitter, but I'm on Instagram, so follow me there.
All right, and I will post that in the description for people as well. But yeah, well, with that being said, thanks, Jeff, for coming on. Really appreciate you being here, and hopefully my next guest is as wise and good with their words as you are, and intelligent as you are. I really appreciate it. So thank you once again. Do you want to say bye to everyone?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Talk to you guys later. I hope to be back soon, so hopefully Misha gives me another go here.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, dude, I will. So, without further ado, this was the Evening Q. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.